I just want to make the comment that just because somebody didn't say that they object doesn't mean that people object. And if it's not part of the meeting to start with, it might not be a good idea to just throw it in there. Just a comment. I'm not trying to throw a wrench into things. That's all. Thank you. I just want to make the comment that just if somebody isn't speaking up doesn't mean that everybody agrees. That's all. Thanks.
I'm recording right now. My name is Joanna. If you have a concern that you want to express privately, please chat me privately by using the chat little like cartoon dialogue button at the bottom of your screen and let me know. I definitely want to be respectful of anybody's concerns. So that was my presentation. I know we got through a lot there, but Cindy, I saw your hand up early on, so let me go to you first, okay?
Hand was up a long time ago.
Go ahead, Cindy. Let's see. I don't know if she's, maybe she's leaving.
Cindy, I see in the chat that you have to leave soon. Did you want to offer some oral comments before you do? This would be the chance.
All right, I'm going to move on. Janet, I see you have your hand up and I know you expressed a desire to be recorded. So I'm going to record your comment, but I have gotten comments in the chat that of people who would prefer not to be recorded. So I'm going to stop unless somebody tells me explicitly that they want to be recorded, which Janet has done. So go ahead, Janet.
I understand all this zoning, this zoning that for safety, transportation, how the parcels work, all your action you're going to take. But you're talking to an organization here who has been fighting since 1994 on pollution. I don't know. I've lived here for 73 years. I'm 86 years old. The environment here is so bad, and every day it gets worse. But the pollution is so bad. And when I talk to supervisors and their advisors tell me impact on children is none, I get very upset. I get very upset because the pollution here is wiping out a generation. I want Rodeo to move ahead. I want this general plan. But these supervisors, if they keep voting to give the refineries the go ahead to continue to pollute us, what are we supposed to do? I went to a Crockett meeting. That's the first thing they brought up. They don't want the general plan. All they want is clean air. And you got to understand where they're coming from. You got to understand where we're coming from. In 1994, when the Catacarbs bill came, I'm not going to go into all this because we've been fighting since then. We were naive then. We're not naive now. The supervisors have to do something so that we can rebuild this community and make it like it should be for the disadvantaged people that are here. We want more recreation and we want a decent community for people to live in. There's so much I want to say, but I think you should go on to what other people have to say. This is what I want addressed. I want the supervisors to address the supervision and quit giving the refineries the go ahead to keep on poisoning us. So they have to understand this, and I want them to hear what I got to say, because I'm going to be up before them and I'm going to accuse them of it. They have got to help us. We want our community to move forward.
I really hear that you have been fighting these issues for a long time, and I definitely am a little bit familiar with and respect the work that this organization and others have done in Rodeo and similar communities. I know it's been a long fight for you guys. And I can't promise that the general plan is going to solve all of the issues that you've been working on for so long.
The graph shows it. The state, this is the state graph on here. I've read this
in the profile
and backwards. The graph is here. It's 98% of the illnesses and the sickness and the heart attacks. So it's here. It's on paper. So I think that they should read it.
And that's a big part of what we're trying to do with the profiles is collect that data, which, as you said, has initially been collected by the state, and really present that on paper as part of the general plan to provide a benchmark for the conditions in Rodeo and in similar communities. And I wanted to mention that probably some of you are familiar with the concept of just transition, meaning the transition from petroleum refining to other types of energy sources and other types of industries in Contra Costa. That is a concept that's reflected in the draft EJ policies. So I encourage anyone who hasn't had a chance to see them yet to take a look, because a lot of the communities that we've been working with throughout this process, we've been working very hard to reflect the ideas and the feedback that we've heard. So I hope that you see some of your ideas there, and if not, that's definitely what we want to hear more about in February. I'm going to go to
Joanna, if I may, real
go
quickly,
ahead, Jody.
real quickly on the just transition issue. The Sustainability Committee, that meeting on March 22nd is going to be juicy and potentially long, because the committee will also be looking at, there was a letter that many of you are probably familiar with that came from a number of community groups to the Board of Supervisors about the 2 refineries that have applications in to process renewable fuel instead of crude oil. And that letter has been referred to the Sustainability Committee. So on the 22nd, they'll be looking at the environmental justice policies and having an initial conversation about the letter and how to respond. And I'm getting messages also from many of you about your interest in making sure the supervisors see this recording, hear your voices, and we intend to do that. Supervisor Joya was very clear at the meeting, the Sustainability Committee meeting that happened on, oh my gosh, it was just yesterday, but it feels like it was 5 days ago. And he said, this committee of the board is a part of what needs to happen around the refineries, but there's a bigger conversation that involves other levels of government, that involves private, players. There's just a whole host of folks that need to be at the table. So part of what we're, really working on with the supervisors, and this is something where I'm probably more involved than Joanna and the general plan team are, although they are also involved, is thinking through what should that process look like. And I know some of you have been following, this conversation has been going on for a few months now, and it's so big, I think that, figuring out how to, it's like an elephant, you're touching one piece of it, but you really want to make sure you have the whole thing, because you don't want to, there's a lot of sensitivities, the unions, jobs, the environmental concerns, the health concerns, the safety concerns, they're all valid and they all need to be considered. And I'm sure if Supervisor Joya was here, he would say the same thing. So we do hear you, and we look forward to talking about it with you more. The final thing I'll add is that the Governor's Office of Planning and Research, which is sort of the state planning department, is actually putting together statewide guidance on just transition, and they expect to have that available in June. And I am in low-level conversation with them, and we'll be exploring what we can do to make sure that Contra Costa County has an opportunity to be heard as they move forward with that guidance.
All right, Sandra has been waiting very patiently with their hand up. Thank you so much, Sandra. Please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hi, actually, it's my name is Patrick McCafferty. I'm Sandra's husband, and I wanted to address. Hello, how's everybody? Me and my wife just recently moved, bought our house here in Rodeo in November, and we walk our dog all the time. We're always out and about, and we noticed a huge trash problem in our community, and we really want to address it. We've been talking, me and my wife, preparation on like going out and doing cleanups and whatnot, and it's very disturbing, because we have these nice little pathways along the little creek that goes right next to the Safeway, and they're just trash. I mean, and it's to the point where we look like a third world country here in Rodeo. And even in the one park that's over on the homeowners association side, it's really bad. So we want to know if anything that the community can get involved in and possibly help this situation out, because we just want our town to be beautiful, because we live here and we love it here. So
yeah, thank you, Patrick, for bringing that up. Illegal dumping is something that we've heard about, I think at every single community meeting that I've been to since I started working on this project in 2018. It's definitely a problem in Rodeo, and it's a problem in a lot of the unincorporated communities that that we visited, and certainly a lot of these communities that are facing other environmental justice issues that we're talking about here tonight. We do have some policies in the draft policies that touch on that issue. And definitely welcome additional ideas and ways that we can strengthen those. I have heard from a lot of people that it's a significant concern and significant impact on their quality of life in their community.
I have a comment if there's.
Yeah, let me stop recording. Like I said, I was going to.
And Joanna, I see that Michael has put into the